Hello and welcome back to the channel. So today I want to make a build video on Felarx. So Felarx is one of the Gen 1 Incarnons along with Inodem and Fenmore. So Felarx is a shotgun type weapon that when you activate its Incarnon turns into sort of these dual pistol things that do these big ol' shockwave attacks. But you can see here, it's not super strong, so I don't really use the Incarnon form for this at all. I pretty much exclusively stick to our shotgun portion of it because it's pretty good. And I'm not really a shotgun enjoyer for the most part, but this weapon cooks. Let me go show you the damage on Felarx here. You can see we 4-shot these guys, and then because we have galvanized mods on this setup, as we get our kills, it will do increasingly more damage to the point of being able to basically one-shot these guys. My only downsides with this weapon, personally, yeah, there you can see now, depending on how many statuses my Dariga puts on them, we can one-shot these guys. And these guys have, I believe, if I remember right, 4 million EHP. But Felarx is really cool, and I run it specifically and exclusively on mag. Which, not to say you can't use it on other frames, because you absolutely can. Anyone who gives you reload speed would be a huge buff for this weapon. But the reason I mainly use it on mag is because you could pull everybody into the bubble, hit the funny polarize button, shoot once, twice, 3 times, and then when the bubble expires, they'll just explode. 4 times, and they're gone. So it's really nice pairing with mag, specifically, but any frame that gives reload speed or fire rate would be nuts. Because you can see the fire rate's kind of slow, and our reload is also a little bit slow. But we have some remedies for that. So our build for Felarx, we have 2 for today. We have this one here, which is my main setup for mag specifically. We have Point Blank for flat damage, Seeking Force for punch through, which gives us 2.1, which on this weapon, basically infinite. Chilling Reload for 40% reload speed and 60% cold damage. Frigid Blast for more cold. Obviously you want to upgrade this, but I do not have the mod capacity for that. Hell's Chamber, ideally Galvanized Chamber, but I don't have it yet for shotguns specifically, so this one works just fine in its place. Incendiary Coat for heat damage. Galvanized Savvy, this is a must for this setup. Regular shotgun Savvy has a different functionality with just status. This gives us more direct damage per status type affecting the target. So this is one of the few musts for this weapon. And then Charge Shell for electricity, and then we have Primary Merciless because we're not hitting heads with this for the most part. So we have electricity, IPS damage, and blast for the total of 11,000. And then for our non-mag setup, we have this one here, Shotgun Barrage for fire rate, Incendiary Coat for heat, Tactical Pump for reload, a Bane of your choosing, which I just have this one here as a placeholder, Hell's Chamber, ideally galvanized, but for multi-shot. We have Vigilante Armaments for even more multi-shot. Galvanized Savvy for same as before, and then Charged Shell for electricity, and then Primary Merciless. For our evolutions for Felarx, our first one, we took Frictionless Flight for projectile speed. Our second one, we took Evolved Autoloader for faster reload when holstered, which if you don't want this, you could easily swap on this, which increases your fire rate per shell. Or you could go for this one, which gives you 100% projectile speed and 4 meters of punch through. And then our other one, we took our third one, we took Status Chance with a little loss to crit because we are building this weapon status. But if you want, you could go for the double increase to crit and status, but this weapon, as you can see, it's 10% crit chance. So I leaned a lot more into the statuses with 40%. And then our fourth one, this reason you don't want to go crit on this weapon actually, is it is the same thing as Fenmore does, Devastating Attrition, 50% chance to deal 2,000% increased damage on non-crits. So that's why we want to keep our crit as low as possible. And these other ones, honestly, you really don't want to go for. It is just this for your 4th ability, or 4th evolution. But those are the 2 builds for this. I mainly use this one even not on mag, to be honest. With that being said, and I've shown the weapon, we can jump into Steel Path, and I can show you how this works in an actual mission. Alrighty, now we are here in the Steel Path, so I can show off Felarx. We came here to... there we go. We came here to Deimos again in the Sanctum. Let's go ahead and start throwing out some Crush so that I can build up my overshields. There we go. Got that built up. Let's go ahead and pop a polarize. And like I said before, you can make use of the Incarnon form, but I do not, because I have not found it to be worth building for. Which, I don't know, maybe it is, but in my testing, I have not found a build setup for it that has made it feel good. Let's go ahead and get our shields back. And then let's go ahead and pull everybody together. Let's yoink these guys into the bubble. And then let's go ahead and start firing. Pull them into the bubble. And pull them into the bubble. But yeah, this weapon on mag is absolutely kooky, because it just synergizes with the bubble so well. Let's go ahead and fracture and crush, pop a polarize, pull everybody in, bubble. Let's get rid of those guys. But even without the bubble, you can see here, we still one-shot these guys with no armor on level 155. Get him off of that. We don't want no Necromech showing up. Let's get our shields back, polarize again. Because I like to keep polarize up pretty much exclusively, which I've done a full video on mag on the channel already. If you haven't seen that, feel free to check it out. But Felarx has been a super nice weapon to add to my arsenal, not gonna lie. Because I'm not a big shotgun user. The only one I used prior was, if you want to count it as a shotgun, Fullman. Or Fullman Prime, but it uses rifle mods rather than shotgun mods. So I don't know if it technically counts as a shotgun or not, but I've been looking into getting the Tenet Galaxian also for mag. And I'll probably, once I have that, make a video on it. But I need to farm a sister so that I can get that. Let's go and get our shields back. Polarize. Pull everybody in. Bubble. Get rid of them. Get rid of these goobers. Let's reload. Get our shields back. Polarize again. And then I'll swap over to... Oh, little stagger. You'll love to see it. Let me get our shields, and then I'll swap into the Incarnon form so I can show you this. So the Incarnon form you can see here on Steel Path, it does one-shot these guys. But I don't know, it just feels kind of weird for me. But it also, because I have white energy on Felarx, every time I fire, it's like a flashbang. So I don't use it too much because of it being a flashbang. But I like the white energy for the non-Incarnon form so I can see my bullets better. So it's like a weird double-edged sword of like, I don't want it so I'm not flashbanging myself, but I do want it so that I'm able to see where my normal shots go. Let's go ahead and polarize. Can I put the bubble on the Necromech? Yes. And the Necromech is gone. But Felarx is super, super good. I definitely was sleeping on this weapon for the longest time. Because I just am not I don't have shotgun mods for the most part. Until here lately. But I was like, you know what? Let's build Felarx. Because we built Fenmore. And I've heard this is one of the better guns for mag. If you do not have... if you do not have the Tenet Galaxian... Or not the Tenet Galaxian. The Tenet... let's get rid of Mania. If you don't have the Archiplasmor, I've heard this is, like, her next best option for the most part. So I figured I'd build it because I do like using mag. Ow. Release me. Thank you. Let's get rid of that Jade Eximus. Polarize. And if you have seen my mag video, then you would know that I'm planning to swap on, Nourish over my pull burst ability, because your bubble kind of does like a micro pull when you select somebody, so it'll pull them in gently. Because I don't find myself using the Omega pull, the big normal pull too much, because the bubble just does the same thing. But if you don't want Nourish, you don't have to. I do find sometimes mag is a little lacking in the energy department, because I just like to... I love mashing my buttons sometimes. Let's pull these guys in. There we go. Yeah, I have a chronic button mashing habit in this game, so I like having a lot of energy to just kind of keep mashing my buttons. But that is Felarx nonetheless. That was my 2 setups for it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video nonetheless. Thank you for tuning into the channel. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, because only about 2% of my viewers are subscribed. So I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.